How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lo4f, and today I'm going to go and do a contract called Construction Help. I wanted to go and do this one because it's like a special objective trailer you've got to move, and I quite like doing those, to be honest, but I also kind of had a bit of an ulterior motive, hence like the truck I've picked, which I'll explain in a sec. But yeah, the mission is, it's in the middle contracts, it's after you do the movie set trailer. It's a construction trailer kind of down near the gateway, the one at the bottom of the map. I have actually built the bridge yesterday, which I quite like cutting across the water, but it's quite handy in this case. Yeah, the quickest way would be to go back over the bridge and up the road I've just kind of followed with a marker. But I'm going to go along this road, which, having done this mission on the live stream, I already know going this route with the trailer is objectively the worst of the two options. Like, if I went back over the bridge and took sort of the inside road, then yeah, it'd work better. The reason I kind of wanted to do this mission as well, partly, and as I was flicking through wondering what vehicle to use and all the rest of it, I've gone for the this Boar, whatever code name it is afterwards. But I equipped essentially road tyres, which I have officially tried them before, but very rarely. Obviously, back when the game first come out, various trucks, we only really had those options until we either got to a higher level or yeah, you just got like better trucks that can actually have better tyres and all the rest of it. Every now and then, like, it's still a long time ago though, I might have equipped some just to do a quick bit of messing around, but I haven't even driven them for, I'd imagine, a good year or two. Like anything that's worth remembering anyway. See, I told you moving that trailer and a step pike over was a good idea, because I come drifting around that corner then and just missed it by a whisker. Yeah, these tyres, obviously, as you scroll through them, it was because this truck had two types of chains, and I just muscle memory kind of scrolled down to the bottom, and then I was thinking like, oh, which pair of chain does it or whatever, and then I went up into the off-road tyres and, you know, like UOD2 and UHD and all this. I don't really know what, other than the look of the tread or whatever, I don't really know if there's much difference. It doesn't tell us anything as far as, you know, it always says like off-road good, mud excellent or whatever, but it never really gives us anything more precise than that. And as I carried on scrolling up, the highway tyres said they're excellent on the road, and I figured, as near as makes no difference, the whole of this mission's going to be driving on the road, so I'll give them a go. You can see now, by the way, I drove here in the truck. I had the loaf hooked over the roof. I kept getting distracted, funny enough, this is a good example. I came back, basically, to do the footage a bit later, and I just decided to pack the loaf instead of hooking him over the, kind of the sun visor. And you can see that's how far I drove. I got about a truck and a half, before I got interrupted again and had to stop, and then I nearly reversed back up to try and get the footage again, and I was like, no, because in the time it'll take to do that, something else will happen. So I'll just drop the hammer, and yeah, we'll go from there. And the first time I drove down here, by the way, when I arrived with a loaf hooked over the roof rack, it was more, as you'll see now, you pick up quite a bit of damage, but it was just more that, yeah, like, cat and a few bits and bobs. I just wasn't, like, I wasn't happy with the smoothness of the footage, like moving the camera around. When I did it this time, I was at least a little bit more self-conscious of the fact that I'm trying to make it into a video. So pan the camera around a little bit. I just got completely sidetracked. The loaf came off at some point. I started towing the Boar in the trailer with a loaf, which I was having a good old time. But yeah, then I got sidetracked doing something else. Then I stopped. Then I went and made a coffee and all sorts. And I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to recover just to get the footage anyway. But then while I was at the garage putting the loaf back on the roof, I do like hooking it over the roof rack. Sorry, the sun visor, because it just so happens to fit perfectly on this Boar that when you pull a winch from the back of the truck to the back of the loaf, its front tyres kind of hook under the sun visor and it just locks itself onto the roof. Admittedly, there's not really any objective gain to it, since you can actually pack the loaf like this, and a lot of trucks don't let you pack vehicles when you're on an angle like this, or you at least have to kind of drive up a hill to make the game think that the loaf is level, but you don't with this truck. It actually does let you pack it like this. So yeah, at this point it's not costing me a winch. It's officially stuck on there, like, unless I tip over, but I'm not going to have a crash and it'll go flying off or anything. So yeah, I quite like running this setup, and that was it. I mean, the theme of this mission was like, I'll take this truck out and actually give the road tyres a go. But that being said, I don't really have much to compare it to because I've not used them. So I just figured while I was driving this truck and doing this mission anyway, like, yeah, you guys let us know if you want what your opinions are, like if any of you guys have actually used the the on-road tyres, sorry, at any point recently, like, you know, since you've had fully upgraded trucks, all the different access to the trucks, etc., not kind of just limited to when you've got about like the first couple of trucks in the game. You can see though, as I'm driving along, yeah, it's taken a lot of damage. I kind of figured this out from the first time I drove down there. I didn't get all the way to the end of the mission or anything. I'm trying to think how far I did get. Funnily enough, oh no, I think it was a little bit further than this, but then I quit and reloaded, and it loaded a bit back further down the road, and then I was just like, yeah, it wasn't enough back that I just thought, sod it, I'll just restart the whole thing. Get it over and done with. Yeah, you can tell though, as I was driving along, and I was dropping the hammer and sort of not really slowing down too much. Again, I was seeing how well the road tyres were rolling. That's what I'll tell the insurance guy. Yeah, the Boar does take quite a bit of damage though, because it's just quite a fat, hefty truck, and particularly the front axle, it's a lot of truck sitting over one axle, so inevitably when you hit anything, it's like a lot of impact force, and it tends to rack up a bit of damage. So I don't even know why. Well, I drove over this bit. I've been over here a few times, and I just had the curiosity of like, oh, I wonder if it just so happens to fit a ramped flatbed over there. So that was my plan. Came with a white Western Star. I brought an extra loaf just because it's goddamn professional. Funnily enough, he came in handy long one, doesn't he? Yeah, got it all set up and everything. Got the bridge, well, bridge, say that loosely, all set up, and then yeah, this Boar sits too wide for the trailer, which I've kind of noticed is a little bit of a thing with this trailer anyway. It is very narrow. Some of the narrowest trucks will be able to drive on it, but your tyres are practically hanging over each side. Yeah, it really is more the realm of like scout vehicles and that only. It's a shame as well, because that big fat green trailer that's got the ramps that come down, that's too steep to even get most of the trucks on it, and it's just a big fat annoying trailer that only has 3 slots of cargo. Yeah, so then, well, I actually had to recover the white Western Star to the garage to put a saddle high on it, because I didn't do that the first time I drove here. And then even this had the tyres too wide, because each tyre is kind of sat over the outside of the ramps. Yeah, bearing in mind, obviously, there's a fair bit of editing going on there. A lot of, like, messing around and that to get to this point. So, I was like, sod it. I tried game. I tried to be delicate, but he was having none of it. So I'm dropping the hammer into high. I'm just going to brute force my way. Yeah, hit the ramp hard enough. And it went pretty well, all things considered. I would have accepted tipping over. I'd have just sent the loaf in and untipped the trailer, but I think it might have even glanced off that telegraph pole, or just didn't quite have enough to tip me over. But yeah, the truck kind of landed again a bit. Got some power to it. I actually dragged the trailer forward, but that's the problem. This mission highlights it quite well, like going along this road. They're just too ridiculous on this map. Along this road with the hitboxes, they're so ruthlessly sharp. They just hook your truck instead of doing much of anything else. Which again just seems like an odd way to do, like, it's just another way sort of the game highlights a bit of a inconsistency, you know, from real life versus, like, you get stuck on certain bits on this game and you just think, in real life, it'd either rip my truck axle off or I'd smash the road up. And obviously in a game of deformable physics, I know it's not quite the same smashing a road up, but you'd think really breaking the corner of a solidly planted road would be an easier thing in gaming than like the entire map being deformable terrain. And yeah, but it's never the case. Obviously the roads are absolutely made of like diamond material, and you just, yeah, you hook on them, but they're too much really. Even both of these trucks couldn't pull the tyres kind of up over the lip of this broken road, and just the game being a little troll. I mean, look, it offers me the winch point to the back of the white Western Star, but not the tree that's nearer to me. So in the end, it was like, just accept that I'm going to have to send in a goddamn horse or vehicle. It usually happens. That is why I didn't even know I needed him when I brought him, but I just stuck one on the trailer because it's good practice to do so. And now I didn't have to get the goddamn horse off the Boar, which is good because I get oddly sentimentally attached once he's on there. So we sent the other loaf in, drove it under the trailer, stuck a winch from the Boar to the loaf, so it kind of hoovers the loaf in as I'm able to drive forward in the Boar, and then yeah, pop the back of the trailer up. Now we're good to go. Little victory horn, smash some more anti-terrorist barricades out of the way, and yeah, as I've not really used these tyres before, so I haven't really got as much of a benchmark to go on, I assume they're pretty terrible in mud. That would stand to reason. I suppose that tiny little bit where I just crossed the river with the Boar, I went left to go around that way just to see if it made any difference at all, because obviously going over the road is like a fat ditch in the road. If you go off to the right, it still looks, by the time there's like the road barriers that sort of don't let you go that far over to the right. You could go back far enough and go around the barriers or try and climb over them or whatever. But yeah, I just wanted to see if they're going like left that way actually made much difference, but this thing got stuck in the water a little bit. I had to fire a few winches out for that one. But again, that could be the tyres letting it down a bit. I also think there's a bit of hitboxes being too sharp, even on like the fairly little rock. I was trying to bump back up on the other side. I believe though, once you've passed that kind of stupid bit of broken road, it's pretty much plain sailing from there. And this was actually like, I was enjoying the amount of speed I was able to get going along. The game's a bit of a cock blocker when it comes to letting you get up into like 6th, 7th and 8th gear and that these days. There are sections that allow you to though. The road's going to have a fairly high chance of being one of them. So I don't know how much the road was allowing it to happen. This truck is just... It's nice that they gave this truck a high speed. I do appreciate that to begin with. Yeah, maybe the tyres were having a little bit of an effect that it was letting me drop the hammer on the road. I'm not too sure, but yeah. Like say, after that big fat ditch, it kind of all goes pretty smoothly. Drop the hammer, 6 grand for the mission. Not an amazing payout really. But again, I could have gone back over the bridge, up the inside kind of track, and then yeah, this mission would have been a few minutes, like almost too easy to even bother doing. So I did personally go the harder way. That's what she said. Yeah, and that's about it. It's another one in the bag. Had to run that tree over at the end. Didn't want it trying to wobble its way back. But yeah, that's about it for today. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Get yourself a loaf because it's goddamn professional. Save me bacon again, and I'll be back soon.